everyone, and welcome to the daily newspaper analysis, which is brought to you by Law Seco. So today we will be discussing two editorials. The first one is from the Hindu that has been titled as "Preventing Animal Cruelty is a Duty of the State." So this article talks about the very famous sport of Jallikattu, which comes from the state of Tamil Nadu. It is almost every year into news with regard to animal cruelty. Secondly, draft rules for online gaming, which is taken from the Indian Express. And this talks about the recent rules that have been brought for online gaming. So we'll only be crisply discuss which all changes have been made so far. Thirdly, we have the news update. And fourthly, we have the legal news for the day. So the first article talks about preventing of the animal cruelty, which is a duty of the state. So in the case of Animal Welfare Board of India versus A. Nagaraja, the Supreme Court in 2014 held that the sport of Jallikattu was illegal and amounted to animal cruelty. Now this needs to be seen that Jallikattu is the state sport when it comes to Tamil Nadu, and since many years it has been debated that it is actually a kind of cruelty on the animals. Roughly seeing it, as you can see in the picture as well, somewhat it looks like a sport wherein the bulls are included, and it is almost like a man to a bull fight. Now in this, it is a game of the state of Tamil Nadu which has focused its effort upon being to legalize and revive as well. Now, the oral arguments have shown that there is a distinct deficiency in the Indian Constitution when it comes to protecting and maintaining animal welfare. Now, of course, when we say that the Constitution of India is the lengthiest written constitution of the world and is very much elaborate in its nature, but we have also been noticing that the provisions for the safety, security, and against the provisions against the cruelty of the animals, they are very much minuscule, and even they are not implemented very well in the real front. Hence, how the court chooses to resolve the issue at hand will have deep bearing effects on the future of animal welfare in India. And that is why, in a way, we can say that the courts have been showing somewhat what we can call as judicial activism when it comes to bringing forward the laws and also provisions for making sure that no cruelty is done onto the animals. Up until now, some of the directive principles of state policy and the fundamental duties contained in the Constitution lay emphasis on the duty of the state and human beings to protect and improve the natural environment. Now, here is a question. We deliberately did not put the exact DPSP and fundamental duties because I would like you to go through the Bare Act and let me know in the comment section that which directive principle of state policy and which fundamental duties actually talk about the protection of maybe wildlife or protection of animals, animal husbandry. Now, I've also given you the keywords. You only have to tell me that which is the exact article for this. However, these are unenforceable obligations. Now, as we know, that Part 4 and 4A, that is the DPSPs and the fundamental duties in the Indian Constitution, they are non-justiciable. That means that you cannot enforce or claim them in the courts of law. On the contrary, the fundamental rights are there, which are, we can claim them and they're enforceable in the court of law. But there itself, we do not have any such provisions. So that is why the directive principles or the fundamental duties, even though they have the provisions for the protection of the animals, they are unenforceable in the real spirit. So the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, that is the PCA Act 1960, emanates from an ethical precept. It is based on these grounds that the PCA banned Jallikattu. Now, definitely we need to have some stringent laws if we really want some change to be brought in this direction. The Tamil Nadu government has since amended the PCA Act in 2017 with the sole motive in India to keep Jallikattu outside the confines of the Act, and has also secured the President's approval as well. But let's see that how the people in Tamil Nadu, basically those who are associated with this cultural sport, how they react to this, because it has been ingrained into their culture, and definitely it would not be easy for them, or they might not be really even willing to give up this entire tradition. So the petitioners have herein argued that previous judgment on the matter now only held that the practice of Jallikattu was against the PCA Act, that is the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, but also against the provisions of Article 51 AG, which is actually a fundamental duty. So the argument about the argument about fundamental rights raise the following lead questions. Firstly, do animals have personhood? Like for example, they can be treated or can be given as the same rights as our people. Or does our idea of justice include animal welfare or not? And if not, do we still owe it to the nature to care for animals? These are some philosophical as well as some, debatable questions, if at all we were to see over here. Now let's see what are the draft rules for online gaming. So according to the Ministry of Electronics and IT, that is Information and Technology, online game will now have to register themselves with a self-regulatory body to operate in India. Now, as we know that online gaming has actually become a big market when it comes to the Indian scenario. So that is why it also becomes important at the very same time that the entire stream is also regulated so that no any kind of frauds or any kinds of money wagering or illicit trade takes place through online gaming. The proposed guidelines are essentially an amendment to the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021. So, in very short, we will discuss as to what are these draft rules. Firstly, wagering on the game from now on will not be allowed, which means that betting with regard to any real money will not be allowed for this purpose. Secondly, all online gaming companies will have to register themselves with a self-regulatory body. Thirdly, the self-regulatory bodies will have a board of directors with 5 members from differing fields. Fourthly, nothing in game must be against the interests of India. Fifthly, online gaming firms will have to do the user KYCs, that is know your customer or know your consumer basis. So basically, so that they have enough information about who are actually using these gaming applications. And lastly, online gaming platforms will also have to appoint compliance officers. Let's see now what do we have for news updates today. Firstly, Koustav Chatterjee becomes India's 78th Grandmaster. Koustav Chatterjee, he has now, as we know, has become the 78th Grandmaster in the MPL 59th National Senior Chess Championship in New Delhi. 19-year-old drew his game against GM Mitraba Guha. Koustav earned his maiden GM norm, that is the Grandmaster norm, in 2021 October at Sheikh Russell Grandmaster 2021 in Bangladesh. And then the teenager appeared for his Class 12 board examinations in the first half of 2022. Later, he continued playing chess through these times managing exams. He even participated in a tournament. And exactly a year later, the teenager scored his second Grandmaster norm at the Asian Continental Championship 2022 in November. And he crossed 2,500 in the August FIDE rating list. So it is indeed a moment to be proud. Secondly, Vaidehi Chaudhary wins the International Tennis Federation's women's tournament singles. So Vaidehi had won maiden doubles title with Laskutova as partner. Second seed Vaidehi Chaudhary was at her fighting best as she beat the top seed Ksenia Laskutova by 7-5, 6-4 to clinch the title in the given tournament of the game. Thirdly, India's first underwater metro to become operational in December 2023. So India's Kolkata Metro Rail is set to complete the development of the country's first underwater metro service by December 2023. The upcoming project, called the East-West Metro Corridor, will pass through the Hooghly River and link Howrah with Kolkata. Fourthly, Election Commission appoints Maithili Thakur as Bihar state icon. We all must have seen her in Indian Idol audition, or I guess Voice of India audition as well. So yeah, we all are familiar with the name, and you can look at the picture as well over here. So folk singer Maithili Thakur was appointed as the state icon for Bihar by Election Commission. Thakur, trained in Indian classical and folk music, was recently selected for the Ustad Bismillah Khan Yuva Puraskar of the Sangeet Natak Academy for a contribution to the folk music of Bihar for 2021. Fifthly, President Murmu inaugurates Constitution Park at Rajasthan Raj Bhavan. So President Draupadi Murmu has inaugurated the newly constructed Constitution Garden and beautification works related to it at Rajasthan Raj Bhavan. On this occasion, she also interacted with Kathodi and Sehriya tribals, which are important tribes when it comes to Rajasthan. On the innovative initiative of the governor, Rajasthan has become the first state in the country where a constitution garden has been established at the Raj Bhavan to create constitutional awareness among the common people. Sixthly, Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award, Guyana President among the awardees. So Guyana President Mohammad Irfan Ali and renowned Canadian scientist Dr. Vaikuntham Iyer Lakshmanan are among the 27 recipients in the 2023 Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award, the highest honor conferred on the overseas Indians. The award will be conferred by President Draupadi Murmu as part of the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention, which will be held from January 8th to 10th in Indore. Seventhly, Mamata Banerjee launches Didir Suraksha Kawach and Didir Doot. The Trinamool Congress Chief and West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has launched two initiatives ahead of the Panchayat elections this year, that is Didir Suraksha Kawach and Didir Doot. So the program Didir Suraksha Kawach will see 3.5 lakh party leaders reach every block and cover 2 crore families in 60 days, with workers staying in villages to understand the problems faced by locals and promoting the TMC government's flagship programs. Secondly, the Didir Doot app has been developed for people to register their problems. This initiative follows Mamata Banerjee's Didi Ke Balo program in 2019, which aimed to reach out to common people, and it was quite successful then as well. Let's see what do we have for legal updates today. Firstly, Article 19 and 21, rights can be conferred against private individuals and entities. Supreme Court holds by 4-1 majority, that is 4:1 majority. The Constitutional Bench of the Supreme Court in the case of Kaushal Kishor versus State of Uttar Pradesh, Government of UP Home Secretary, has said that the fundamental rights enshrined under Articles 19 and 21 are enforceable even against persons other than the state or its instrumentalities. Secondly, mere dispute on monetary demand does not attract offence of criminal breach of trust under Section 405 of the Indian Penal Code, says the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court has observed that a mere dispute on monetary demand does not attract the offence of criminal breach of trust under Section 405 of the Indian Penal Code. This was held in the case of Deepak Gaba versus State of Uttar Pradesh. This was all for today. Thank you so much for staying tuned with LawSeco. If you wish to download the PDF of today's slides, you can join our Telegram channel. The link is there in the description box below. You can also scan this QR code that you can see on your screens right now. Thank you so much.